My beloved child, pause right here in this very moment. For I am not speaking to you in a whisper, but in the summons of spiritual awakening. You think this is just another passing minute, but in truth this is a countdown moment heaven has appointed so I may touch your soul once more, not to frighten you, but to awaken you from the haze that has quietly settled upon your heart. There are things you have assumed were normal that have begun to crack in ways you have not yet seen. There are layers of, I'm fine, I'm peaceful, I'm progressing, I'm doing well that you have wrapped around yourself. Yet they are not strong enough to keep your soul standing firm. I expose this not to shame you, but to rescue you from a silent collapse. Open your heart, because right now I speak with honor, urgency, and authority you must return to. My light before the faint shadows clinging to you grow into deep darkness. You do not realize how long you have been living in the gray zones. Not clear darkness, yet dim enough to blur discernment, dim enough to dull your ability to see what is true, what is right, what is from me, and what is from your own self. You feel temporarily okay, but I see the sharpness of your soul fading, and I love you far too much to allow that to continue even one more day. This is not a warning meant to scold. This is a warning meant to save. I do not stand far off watching you. I come near and touch the places you have not dared to name. I do not want you to live in a life that is quite all right when I have written over you a life that is anointed. I will not allow deception dressed in false blessing to steer you off course. I speak this today to pull you away from things that look like light but carry no life. In the spiritual realm, temptations often take on gentle forms, an opportunity that seems good, an invitation that sounds reasonable, a relationship that feels pleasant, a plan that looks intelligent. But without discernment, you will mistake them for true blessings. True blessing always brings freedom, clarity, and deep peace. False blessing gives you quick shine but steals your sensitivity. False blessing lifts you for a moment but hides an invisible hook that pulls you off alignment. I warn you about this, not because you are weak, but because you are strong, and because you are strong, the attacks against you must become more subtle. I reveal the fractures in your soul not to embarrass you, but to seal the gaps the enemy longs to exploit. You are not being condemned by me. You are being protected by me. You once asked me, why do I feel more unstable lately? More sensitive? More easily tired? You thought this was a sign of weakness. But in truth, it is the inner alarm I have sounded within you. When you no longer hear me through peace, I allow you to hear me through a gentle unrest, not a destructive unrest, but an alerting one. I always warn you first through small signals, a restless thought, an action that makes you hesitate, a night of shallow sleep, a conversation that unsettles you, a moment when you notice your heart drifting from me even by a few steps. These are not random fluctuations of emotion. They are the warning map I place within your spirit. I awaken you not because I am angry, but because I see fire on the path ahead that you do not see yet. I also see the way you have tried to be strong for the people you love, tried to be calm so no one feels disappointed, tried to be cheerful so everything stays peaceful. Yet beneath your effort, there are layers of your soul that have begun to crack softly. No one else sees them, but I do, not to judge, but to mend, not to expose fault, but to call you home. These fractures are not signs of failure. They are signs that you have been carrying weight beyond what your soul was designed to bear alone. And now I warn you gently but firmly, you do not have to carry everything. You were not designed to hold every emotion, every pressure, every expectation. You were created to carry only what you carry with me. Any burden without me becomes a wrong burden. Remember this, I never reveal anything I do not intend to heal. When I show you the parts of you that are tired, I also stretch my hand to cover them. When my light shines on the corners you have hidden, I also pour my oil to soften what has grown hardened. When I help you see the truth of your own inner state, I also help you see the truth of my love, a love that does not abandon, does not disconnect, does not delay, does not change. My awakening does not carry fear, it carries return. The fact that you hear my voice today means your heart is still sensitive to heaven, and that alone is enough for me to keep leading you, adjusting you, protecting you from the things you think you are controlling but which are actually beginning to control you. And now I speak this with tenderness but with sharp precision. Do not ignore the signs I have been sending. You have seen several signs in the past week, several signals in the past month, several whispers in private moments. Do not overlook them. Do not downplay the gentle turns of my spirit in your soul. Do not allow distraction to pull you one more step outside the realm of spiritual safety. You are being pulled back, held back, gathered back, and called back by your Father before you cross a line where the light fades and my voice grows faint. This is not a threat. This is protection. I cannot bear to lose a single moment in drawing you back before the things that look like blessing but are truly spiritual. Traps move closer. You belong to me, and I will not allow any other voice to lead you away. My child, do you know this? Your soul is like a room only you dare to walk into when night falls. A room whose outer space you have learned to keep tidy, while the drawers inside hold things you never opened before anyone. And I see every one of those drawers. I do not stand outside the door. I enter with absolute reverence. I see the drawer you locked away from the very first wounds, where you stored stories you thought were long past. I see the corner that is always darker than the rest, where you hide feelings you are afraid to name. I see the part of the floor that cracked long ago, the part you covered with the rug of, "I'm fine." And I do not come to accuse you. I come to turn on the light. That light may make you blink because you are not used to it, but it is the light that heals. I kindle it so you no longer have to fumble through the shadows of your own soul. There are nights when you sit alone, not crying aloud, yet your tears flow inward, making your heart heavier than your chest. You think no one knows, but I heard the quiet crack inside your spirit before the first tear even formed. I saw the way you swallowed words you longed to say because you feared someone would think you were weak. I saw the way you forced a smile at just the right moment so no one would suspect how tired you truly were. I saw the sentences you did not finish because you knew you would break if you said them all. I saw the nights you pushed yourself into sleep while your mind kept circling old stories. You are not the only one who knows the darkness in the room of your soul. I know everything, and I have not turned away for a single moment. I have drawn nearer. You are like a vessel that once fell and shattered, then was pieced back together by your own trembling hands. You tried to glue each shard with effort, with self-reliance, with endurance. But I see every line where the pieces meet. Not one of them drives me away. In fact, every line is a silent cry for help you did not know you had sent to heaven. Some pieces you placed unevenly because you mended them in the absence of light. Some pieces you still haven't touched because you fear reopening them will bring back the pain. And some pieces you think are lost, though they are only buried under the dust of long, silent years. I do not come to throw away that broken vessel. I come to make it an anointed vessel. In my hands, the cracks do not make you less, they make you precious. For it is through those very cracks that my light shines out. There is a truth you keep avoiding. You are not exhausted because you are weak. You are exhausted because you have carried things that were never yours for far too long. You carry the expectations of others and mistake them for responsibility. You carry the faults of others and think you are meant to bear the consequences. You carry your wounds and mistake them for your identity. You carry fear and think you are carrying caution. I see you bending beneath that weight, and I speak gently. Lay it down. not because you failed, but because your shoulders were never designed to carry such loads. I am not angry that you carried them. I am grieved only because you believed I did not want to carry them for you. You often blame yourself for the moments when your heart feels soft. But you do not know that I love that softness. Only a soft heart can hear my voice through the noise of the world. Only a soft heart can discern what is right among 1,000 things that seem reasonable. Only a soft heart allows me to adjust, to guide, to mend. A hardened heart does not hurt, but it cannot feel life either. I do not want you to become steel. I want you to become protected. That is why I will take the softest places in you and hide them beneath the shadow of my wings. I will take your most wounded places and make them the deepest places where I meet you. Nothing in you causes me to turn away. In fact, the very places you try hardest to hide are the places I most desire to touch. Sometimes I see you like someone walking across an old wooden bridge. Every step creaks with tiny fractures. You try to step lightly so the bridge won't break. You hold your breath so the whole structure won't shake. But I want you to know that bridge was never built to hold you for this long. It was only a temporary crossing. Long ago, I placed a solid stone path before you. But you have been afraid to step off the old bridge because you fear not seeing what comes next. It's all right. I take your hand. I do not ask you to leap. I only ask you to follow me. And when you follow me, the old bridge dissolves on its own. The new path appears not because it only now exists, but because your eyes are finally turned in the right direction. And you must know that I see the words you dare not speak aloud. I'm afraid of hurting again. I'm afraid I'm unworthy. I'm afraid I won't be strong enough. I hear each whisper even when your lips do not move. I do not dismiss your fear. I place my hand upon it. I do not command you. Stop being weak. I speak. Let me be strong in the place where you cannot. I do not require you to create peace. I bring peace to you. Everything I am awakening in you now is not to make you feel smaller, but to bring you back to your true place, the place where you do not have to rescue yourself, predict everything yourself, strain by yourself, or stand alone. From here, I am leading you into a deeper realm, discernment, surrender, redeeming presence. And when I bring you into that realm, you will know this for certain. You are no longer walking in the gray. You are walking in the light. Come closer. For this part, I do not speak from a distance. I speak as the one who steps forward to shield you with my very body. You do not know this, but there were moments when the enemy thought it could reach you. And I, myself, stepped between, stopping it with a power you could not see. I am not only a loving father, I am a fighting father. I do not only hold you when you cry, I block the winds when you are weary. I do not only wipe your tears, I snap the arrows aimed at your soul. And I declare with fierce authority, no one touches you when you stand behind me. You once worried that you were fragile, but you did not see the wall of fire I built around you. You once feared you were easily hurt, but you did not know I had locked spiritual doors you could never lock by yourself. I do not let darkness approach you at its whim. You may feel trembling, but I never tremble. I see clearly how the enemy has tried to approach you not with swords, but with bait, not with direct attacks, but with the disguise of blessing. It presents glittering things to pull your eyes away from the light. It brings sweet emotions to make you ignore the warning signs. It places reasonable choices before you to make you forget to ask me. But do not forget this, I am the one standing directly behind your soul, seeing through everything your natural eyes cannot distinguish. When I say be careful, it is not because you are weak, it is because you are close to something important. And I will not let anything steal it. I will give you discernment like a thin blade, a sharpness so fine that in an instant you will recognize what carries life and what carries deception. I will never send you into a battlefield without a weapon. Do you know why I call you back to surrender? Because surrender is not bowing down. Surrender is stepping behind me, so that I fight first. When you surrender, you do not lose value, you change position. When you surrender, you do not become weaker, you become protected. When you surrender, you do not lose authority, you regain the authority fear once stole from you. I do not call you to surrender to limit you. I call you to surrender so I can stand fully in front of the enemy. A warrior does not step in front of his father. A warrior stands behind him, so the Father clears the way with heavenly authority. And when I clear a way, no power can stand in the path. You surrender not because you are helpless. You surrender because you belong to one stronger than any storm in this world. Remember this, I never let you fight alone. When you slip into a temptation wrapped in softness, I tighten your heart by a single beat that is the knock of my spirit. When you step into a place without me, your breath shortens, that is my pull. When your words lose their clarity because they do not match your true nature, your voice dims, that is my reminder. I do not shout, I touch. I do not impose, I awaken. And when you respond to that awakening, I rise in front of you like a warrior clothed in shining armor, and I break the cycles the enemy uses to drag you into the gray zones. You are not kept by accident, you are kept by deliberate power. My presence in your life is not a distant concept. It is like an unseen armor. You do not notice it, but it absorbs blows you never knew were coming. There were days you thought you overcame by your own calmness, but it was I who blurred the arrow before it could strike. There were nights you slept deeply, not because your heart was peaceful, but because I laid peace over your head like a weighted blanket. There were situations that should have shattered you, yet you only stepped back a little because I turned, breaking into bending. I protect you not with noise, but with the patience of bedrock beneath your feet. And I want you to know whoever harms you must pass through me first. I know there are moments you blame yourself for your softness, but I say it plainly, your softness does not disappoint me. It draws me closer. My warriors are not numb. My warriors have hearts. True strength is not never trembling. True strength is running toward me when you tremble. And when you run toward me, I wrap around you like a warrior kneeling low, opening my armor to shelter your body. I do not let any pressure crush you. I will teach you how to stand in battle without losing the purity of your heart. For heavenly warriors are not those who fight the best. They are those who stand in the light. You are entering a season where discernment will become your sharpest weapon. Not discernment to judge, but to know which path I lead, which path emotion leads, and which path temptation leads. I will place a layer of spiritual sensitivity over your soul, so you will recognize instantly when something is not right. A message that arrives one beat too late. An idea that sounds good but lacks peace. An invitation that seems appealing but dims the light inside you. An opportunity that looks like a blessing but weighs heavy in the deep place of your spirit. This is how I train warriors, not with giant swords, but with ears that can hear truth within a sea of false sound. You will no longer be swayed by what sparkles. You will walk by what shines deep. And when you surrender to me, what I do is not only protect you, I turn you into a refuge for others. Those who are afraid will find peace in the presence you carry. Those who are lost will find direction because of the discernment within you. Those who are wounded will find comfort in the gentle purity of your voice. You are not only rescued, you become a warrior who pulls others out of traps. I did not save you just so you could stand. I saved you so you could pull, not so you could survive, so you could become the light standing in the very places you once feared. You will be the one I send into dark spaces to bring others out, and the darkness will not swallow you. Now I place both of my hands on your shoulders, not to hold you back, but to push you into a stronger light. You do not walk into the battle alone. You walk as one whose Father goes before you, whose heavenly armies move behind you, and whose covering rests upon your whole being. Nothing can distance me from you. Nothing can slow my rescue. Nothing can leave you abandoned. You belong to me. and because you belong to me. I fight for you. I protect you. I defend you. And I stand between you and every attack so that no arrow touches you alone. This is not comfort. This is confirmation. You are safe in my hands. You stand firm because I stand firm. You overcome because I stand at the front lines. And from this day forward, you will know in every battle. You are never the one facing the wind. First, I am the one breaking the wind ahead of you. There are mornings when you wake without knowing why your heart feels heavier than usual. Nothing disastrous has happened. Yet a thin layer of sadness lays over your soul like gray mist. You think it is just a fleeting emotion, but in truth it is my knocking, inviting you to pay attention to the places within you that have been stretched too long. When you wake and feel your peace slightly missing, I want you to look at it as though looking into a mirror of your inner truth, not to frighten you, but to show you that I am touching something you had set aside. You never need to fear heavy mornings. They are not signs of darkness winning. They are reminders that you have traveled far, and now I want to draw you near again. Even the heaviness you cannot explain, I read it, and I hold it gently within my heart. Do you remember the times you tried to steady yourself on your own? You sat before the mirror, looked into your own eyes and whispered, it's okay, but your heart didn't believe you. I stood right behind that moment. I saw you brace your hands against the table because your emotions were too heavy. I saw you retreat into a small corner of your mind because you didn't want anyone to see how tired you truly were. You didn't know that I was standing there, placing my hand upon your back every time you exhaled in silence. I knew exactly when your quiet was not peace but exhaustion. I did not come to ask why you were tired. I came to tell you, you no longer have to hold yourself up alone. I see your wounds in the very places where you present yourself as strongest. When you say, I'm fine, I hear your heart quietly cry, I'm trying. When you say, I'm okay now, I feel the subtle trembling inside. When you laugh, I know you are covering a part of your heart so no one accidentally steps into the region still burning red. You hide your pain so well that others cannot see it. But I see its color clearly, the color of a heart that has loved much, lost much, tried much, endured much, to the point that even you can no longer tell whether you are strong or simply holding yourself together. I do not ask you to expose your wounds. I only need you to know this, wherever you hurt. I have already placed my hand there before you ever reached it. There are moments when you try to remain composed as you face temptations wrapped in the appearance of blessing. An opportunity opens at the exact moment you are tired. An invitation arrives sounding gentle and attractive. A sense of familiarity appears out of nowhere. A door looks better than anything you once prayed for. You look at it and think, maybe this is the answer. But deep inside your chest, one heartbeat falls slightly out of rhythm. A small, weighty whisper rises. A sigh comes without reason. That is me, placing my hand upon your heart, saying, do not step too quickly. Not because that door is evil, but because it is not meant for you. I know what lies behind it. I know what the cost of that appeal will take from you. I know exactly where you are weak. And I protect you by letting your heart feel uneasy about things that look right on the surface. You are not being held back. You are being rescued early. I want to say this clearly. The discernment in you does not come from experience, but from my spirit. When you stand before two choices, your sensitivity is not overreaction. It is me gently pulling your soul toward the path where life flows. When you hear an invitation and your heart feels dim, even if the logic is flawless, that is my warning. No. When you meet someone new but cannot open your heart naturally, that is my hand blocking the way. When you consider a step forward but your soul cannot breathe, that is my whisper. This is not your road. You are not imagining it. This is how I save you from decisions that would pull you just a few degrees off today, but lead you entirely off course tomorrow. You cannot see it, but I can in a delicate season. One small misstep can redirect your whole future. I caution you not to control you, but to guard your flame from strange winds that seek to extinguish it. Remember the times you made rushed decisions because you feared missing an opportunity. You saw time moving fast. You saw others advancing. You saw yourself falling behind. And in that hurry, you believed the urgency came from me. But did you notice, every time you hurried, your heart lost peace? Every time you chased a feeling, your soul became shallow. Every time you grabbed something I did not lead you to, it slipped from your hands quickly, not because you were unworthy, but because I did not want you to hold what was never yours. You do not know how many sugar-coated traps I saved you from. You do not know how many people I removed from your path because they would have pulled you away from your destiny. You do not know how many beautiful doors I closed, though you thought they were blessings. Not because you were undeserving, but because you are too precious for me to let you go astray. You also cannot see how I protect your soul when you are sad. There are moments when you lie still, but the tears won't fall. You are too tired to pray, too drained to read scripture, too worn to worship the way you used to. You think you are far from me, but truly, you have never been closer to me than in those hours. When you are silent from exhaustion, I hear that silence as your deepest prayer. When you don't have strength to say, Father, I hear your sigh as surrender. When your hands drop because you cannot hold yourself up anymore, I see that as the moment you finally allow me to gather you into my arms. You have no idea how carefully I have held the things you were struggling not to let break. You are not weak when you fall silent. You are simply being held by my own hands. I do not only touch your wounds, I also touch the dreams you buried because you believed you were no longer worthy to dream. I see the notebook hidden in your drawer where you once wrote your hopes, then closed it when life discouraged you. I see the ideas you cherished but abandoned halfway because fear whispered failure. I see the flame you once carried that dimmed after repeated rejection. I want you to know I did not come to call you useless or too late. I came to breathe again into the places you thought had died. Not everything you buried was wrong. Some things had to go underground so I could restore them in the right time. And that time is now, when I am bringing you back into the light, where your dreams can live without being smothered by darkness. You will also feel me in the most ordinary situations. In the morning you walk to work and the air suddenly softens around you. In the moment someone smiles at you exactly when you needed it. In the sunlight entering your room and warming your heart. In a song that plays unexpectedly with words you were afraid to speak aloud. In the glass of water you drink right before you would have cried. And your chest loosens. I am present in every detail, in the places where you think I do not care, but where I am quietly using small moments to remind you that you never walk alone. If you pay attention, you will see that I do not only speak through fire and thunder, I speak through wind and light. And I want you to know this as surely as your own breath. Every warning I give you today is not meant to frighten you, but to open a path for you to step toward me without shame or fear. I do not come to judge you. I come to stand between you and everything that seeks to lead you astray. I draw you back not because you have wandered too far, but because you are too precious for me to let you drift even another moment. You are not being pushed, you are being called. You are not being condemned, you are being rescued. You are not being abandoned, you are being found. And when you step close to me again, you will see it clearly. It was never you running toward me first. It was I who had been running toward you all along. Thank you for receiving this message. Know that you are not merely a listener, you are the one chosen to dwell in the presence of God's Word every day. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any divine message. Amen.